It's the latest episode of The Ugly Truth. Aren't you excited? We're totally stoked about it. We love it. We are talking about our new obsession, Reddit. We're also talking about the Oscars in our own way, as well as the UFC fight that happened last week. This, plus some H-Ugly and Awkward Moments of the week. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
I don't need to see your pussy to know that you need a gynecologist.
Paula?
I don't know that penis.
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to the Ugly Truth. This is episode 439. Okay, really quick, I know we wished Stephanie a happy birthday last week, but today the show drops on her actual birthday, and I actually chatted with her yesterday.
You did?
Yes, because I got a phone call from her son's school because he couldn't, I'm the emergency contact when mom and dad aren't available, and so she called me, and this is a long, convoluted story. Ultimately, his father got the baby. He's fine. He had a fever like the second he got to school.
Oh, no.
And so Stephanie was in a meeting, of course. And I said, Stephanie, so like her phone's off. Her, she's not answering emails because she's in this meeting because she's kind of she's working her way up. And so she's never at her desk. And so she got back to me like an hour later. She goes, I'm so sorry. I can't get to messages when, I'm working. And she said, Jerry got him. But my guess is, if I'm being honest, she goes to work really early. Dad takes son to school. Son probably wasn't feeling well, but dad said, I'll risk it. And took him to school.
We've all done that. The iffy daycare drop. It's just like, well, you're not feverish. You don't have diarrhea. I know your nose is running, but so are half the kids there. So...
Right. So he drops him off, and by 8:45, I get the phone call.
Yeah.
Hello, this is so-and-so's school. We're looking to see if you could get in touch with mom and dad. And I was like, oh, shit. And for me, I panic because if you're someone's emergency contact, like I take that very seriously.
Yeah.
I call back. I'm like, let me see what I can do. And so I'm like sweating, like super nervous because I don't know how sick the boy is. And I just don't want him to be there suffering. But dad got him within like 20 minutes. And so phew, thank goodness. He probably went home, showered, and went, shit, the kid is sick. Okay.
Well,
and then had to go back and get him.
They give you like next to no time because at least my daycare, they said they had to be picked up within 60 minutes. And so.
Yeah. Well, this is his school. He's a second grader.
Oh, okay. So. Oh, they give you more time. But like daycare, I'm just like, office. I'm like, it depends on the time of day. It could take you 60 minutes to get there from anywhere. So.
It could take you an hour just to get the message.
I know.
So anyway, I did not get a chance to wish her a happy birthday. And I know it's redundant, but I don't give a shit. It's it's our show. We can do whatever we want. So happy birthday, Ugg. I love you. I can't wait to see you again. And I hope that little man is feeling better today.
Yeah, really. So, what a way to spend your birthday.
Oh my God. She's like us. She hates her birthday. She doesn't want to talk about it. She won't even acknowledge.
I'm sure we've all spent birthdays like that anyway.
Right?
Sick kids.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And we're going to talk about motherhood in a moment. Okay, so really quick before we move into the Oscars and our perspective on the Oscars, there's many reasons why this has happened. I have been avoiding Reddit for years because it felt like just walls of text and I really couldn't understand it. So I've had a Reddit account for a very long time and I've kind of like, poked it with a stick every once in a while just to see what's the what. But now I'm really getting the hang of it and I really love it. Mm-hmm. And so for the last, I'd say month or so, I can go down rabbit holes like YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I'll just be on Reddit for hours looking at all the crazy shit or all the crazy discussions about reality TV. There is a very active Sister Wives Reddit.
Yeah.
I am all in on that. And I just love it. I love it because this is like the real thoughts and opinions of humans. And it's so funny how similar we actually really are. And so I am obsessed, and we'll talk about this on another show, but just briefly, I am obsessed with The Bachelor. I can't stop watching it, Paula. It is the biggest. Oh my
God. When did this happen?
This has been building. When we took the family to Hawaii last year, it was like desert hot. And so we spent a lot of time inside our condo. Malia and her best friend came and they binge watched The Bachelor in their room because it was just too hot to do anything. So they watched a whole season of The Bachelor in 2 days. And so I'm like, I wonder what that's all about. So this summer, Bachelor in Paradise came on. I caught a promo and I went, oh, I wonder what that's all about. So I started watching Bachelor in Paradise. Daryl and I both watched it every single week faithfully.
I remember you telling me about the Bachelor in Paradise one. And I was just like, you're like, just watch one episode. And I think I watched like 10 minutes. I'm like, I can't handle this. I'm like, people are making out and crying already. And I just like, this is disgusting.
There is a lot of tears because there's a lot of alcohol given to these young people. The thing with Bachelor in Paradise, I do love Bachelor in Paradise because it's all about making summer flings and seeing if anything can go beyond the summer. That's all it really is. Most of them don't. In fact, none of them did, actually. They all broke up within a month after the show aired. But The Bachelor is the OG, and it's been on for a really long time. And apparently, according to experts, it has really gone downhill. One of the problems is they're recruiting these babies to try to win a man for marriage. For example, a 22 and a 23-year-old. There's a lot of 23-year-old girls on this show. And so that alone makes for great drama. Because then there's 28 to 31-year-old women who feel like they're babysitting these youngsters. Anyway, I can't stop watching it.
The 28 to 31-year-olds, they go on Married at First Sight.
Right. So anyway, although I know I cannot encourage you to watch this show because it's almost over now, I'm obsessed. So of course, I go to Reddit because I want to know what the tea is, the real tea, because there's a lot of people who know production people. Yeah. They know all the backstory. So I have found these amazing threads on Reddit about The Bachelor, and I'm just obsessed. And so Joe's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I am 3 hours into my Reddit obsession. I can't stop reading, and everyone's so funny, and everyone's like real, and it's just hilarious. In that vein, as I move on to our next discussion, I foolishly found the cos-penis Reddit, which we discussed a few weeks ago.
That was not a foolish discovery. That was a brilliant discovery.
Men dress up their penises in different ways. They put Mandalorian helmets on the tip of their penis. They paint them yellow to look like bananas.
The googly eyes was my favorite.
They do googly eyes. They turn it into an elephant. They do all kinds of what they deem artistic.
Someone did like a full-blown like 1920s, sepia photo shoot. And I was just like,
that's the one I was like, oh, I see. So this is really art for him. This is like a thing. So anyway, last night you sent me a screenshot that one of the more well-endowed artists listens to the show. Yeah. And heard the mention on the show. And I was like, wow, I'm not sure how I feel about those worlds colliding. Or what does that say about our listenership?
Yeah. So what happened was this particular peen I found to be extraordinarily veiny, but not in a bad way. It was just like, wow. I'm like,
it was pronounced.
He has very thick veins. And so my comment to him was, have you ever considered donating blood? So he said, yes, actually I have. And then I think he said something like, funny story, or I heard you talk about it on your show. And I was just like, oh my God. And like, it shocked me.
I mean, did your stomach drop just a little?
Well, you know what it made me think of is I'm just like, are we to the point where like random people are like, we're going to bump into rando people who know our show? Like, have we made it? Like, that's what I kind of wondered is.
Okay, first of all, I went and re-looked at that penis because I'm like, do I know this person? Like, who is this? Do I recognize this
I don't
dick?
know that penis.
I looked very hard at it because I really wanted to know if I had seen that one in real life, because I'm like, do I know any Mandalorian loving men besides my husband? And by the way, that is definitely not Daryl. Just so we know, just so we're clear.
Okay. I don't think there was any concern about that, but...
No, of course not. But anyway, I was just like, first of all, I would know if he put a helmet on his helmet, and he has not. So I'm like, no, that's definitely not. No offense to the very well-endowed man, but Daryl's better. So anyway, yeah, mind blown. And I was like, I don't know how to take this. I mean, I'm definitely flattered, I suppose, that someone like that, someone that of that creative mind is listening. So that's nice. Maybe Reddit's our people.
And at first I was just like, okay, I'm like, so it's cos-penis. And I'm like, they listen to our show. I'm like, is that okay? And I'm like, you know what? That doesn't surprise me. I mean,
no, not at all.
We probably talk about dick and vagina on the regular. So
we're just trying to normalize sexuality in this world. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at it again, and I don't know. I like the jeans though.
Do you recognize?
I don't.
The skin. I don't either. I legit, that was my first, strangely,
but
that was my first
it
thought
looks
going.
Very clean. And
very clean. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. I can certainly see why you would adorn it.
That looks like a young hand.
Well, then it's definitely not me.
Or me. So...
Right. Okay. Anyway, thank you for listening, cos-penises. We appreciate your downloads. We appreciate your support, and we will continue to praise those who are letting their freak flag fly. We appreciate all of you freaks for sure. I love it. I told Daryl, I said, I wonder if there's a cos vagina. Don't look it up. I don't know if there is. I don't know if I want to look at it, but I'm just saying there might be one.
What would they dress them up as? Clams?
I don't know. Different capes? I'm not sure. But it is a little different.
Sloppy
a vagina
Joes.
is different. Saddledmen.com. I don't know. So anyway, I don't look it up while we're recording, Paul. I swear to God, you'll lock up our computers. Don't do it. You're doing it.
Well, only thing came up was something by X Hamster. So... Oh no! It says cosplay with vaginas.
Oh no! Turn it off. That's not the same.
Vagina.
You can't help yourself.
No, it just said cosplay with vaginas.
No, it's not the same. Nobody cares about
showing
those.
A guy with a crown and a like king cape screams some Asian girl. I don't know.
No, yeah, definitely not the same. Anyway, so Reddit, thank you for existing. Thank you to those communities who are out there. I realize I'm about 10 years behind, but I don't care. Now I'm in it. I'm all about it. So I love it.
I have actually been using it recently for educational purposes.
Like what? Philosophy?
No. You can ask people questions who are actually in the know about things. Now, I mean, like you use it for people who watch The Bachelor or whatever. I might use it for people who are in certain maybe industries or, have a background in something.
Sure.
So, you're actually talking to somewhat of a subject matter expert. And I'm not talking about like, doctors or something like that, because I would never. Although this lady, she posted a picture of her vagina and she's just like, what is this? And so I like looked at it and then I like started looking up different STs. I'm like, I think that looks like HPV, to be honest. But
she has warts. Why would you put your snatch with a wart on?
Well, the
Reddit?
thing is it didn't specifically look like warts, but there's a certain type of warts where they just look like little tiny pink bumps.
I'd be like, I don't need to see your pussy to know that you need a gynecologist.
And then she says now her boyfriend has it.
You're so clean.
They thought it was yeast infection because it was itchy. And I said, I think that's HPV. And so I'm like,
why are you diagnosing someone you don't even know?
Well, that's what she asked.
I know, but I would have been like, I don't know. What does your doctor say?
I said, regardless, you should see a medical professional.
Immediately. All right. So the other thing, this is so funny. So yesterday... there was this, I assume it now to be a joke, but for a moment, because I'm gullible, I took it dead serious as legit. This is what happens when you believe everything you see on the internet, but I don't care because it was hilarious anyway. Yesterday, there was something on Twitter going around that said today only NASA has announced that if you put your broom up, it will stay up because of the gravitational pull.
Yeah, I saw Daryl do something like with the... I was impressed.
So I was like... And so I'm sitting there, I read it, I'm like, what? That's not true. That can't possibly be. That's so dumb. So what do? I get up, I go to the kitchen, I get my janky-ass broom, which, by the way, is very old. So I thought, look, the bristles aren't very flat anymore. It's kind of frayed. So if that's true, this will work. So I did it, and then I have another broom that's even smaller and even more janky, and they both stood up by themselves, and it kind of freaked me out because I guess because I'd never tried it before, so I assumed that what I had just read was true, that the gravitational pull from the moon is allowing this to occur. So I told Daryl, I said, we have to film it and see if it works. Just first try. And he goes, okay. So he comes in and I do the little intro. It's a 27-second video. And it's Daryl dancing around like a fool.
Well, it's because you guys are nerds.
Total nerds. He puts the broom up and sure as shit, it stood. And it was cool. It was a cool trick. I loved it. So, of course, now they're everywhere. Everyone's doing the broom challenge. And I love the videos and I love them standing up. And then earlier, of course, Daryl ruins everything. He goes, I'm reading that this isn't actually real, that this is kind of a joke. And I went, you know what? Fuck that. I don't care. For just a mere moment, the world was united as one, like Pokemon Go. Remember in the summer of Pokemon Go when there were hordes of your community out catching Pokemon until like 1 a.m?
That was, you know what?
It was a beautiful time.
We need another thing like that. If the company could invent something like that, do you know how popular they would be right now? Because the world is in the shitter.
Right? And so I thought, look, for a scant moment, my super conservative friends and my super liberal friends, my wealthy and my poor, and me, all in between, all did the broom challenge together, and we were happy for each other. And I went, why is that such a bad thing? Who cares if it was a joke? It worked. And it was amazing for like 3 hours. We all were together. Kumbaya. It was so great. So I don't. And so the video's on Ugly Truth. Instagram, you can go to just Instagram and search Ugly Truth and it's there. It's also on our Twitter feed and our Facebook because I shared it with everything. So I wanted everyone to see how cool it was. And there's a lot of people doing it and I think it's amazing. And I love those who are putting their Roomba on their side and their vacuum and their Swippers. It's great. It's great.
That's
in
funny.
fact, Paula, you really need to see if Olivia can do it. I'm dying.
The
do you have a
broom thing?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is we're in between brooms right now because Ryan went to go sweep something like a week ago.
And did the head fall off?
No, he swept something and I guess there was poo on the ground. And so he wound up sweeping
garbage
poo everywhere. And so now
that's the end of that.
He says there's poo on the bristles and...
you got to throw that away. That'll
I know. Well, Victor's like, well, if we I'm like, no, we just have to buy a new broom. I'm like, they're like $7. So
yeah, for a fancy one. Yes, I ruined a Roomba that way. The first edition Roomba, we bought it. This was a long time ago, but we bought the Roomba before they were like $800. But back in the day, they were like $150.
Okay.
And so we bought one. And I thought, because all I ever did was sweep and Swiffer the fucking wood floors. And so we bought one. I thought, well, this will save me some time. The problem is we have a cat who used to shit on the floor almost every day. It was almost to the point we got rid of her, but we didn't. We kept her. But still, it was this battle for her to stop pooping on the floor every day. So I didn't know she pooped on the floor. And the Roomba started. And I was like, what is that smell? And I come out and there are no less than 30 feet of brown shit stains all over my kitchen. Like pentagrams. It was gross. And so I threw it away.
Well, yeah. I mean, what choice do you have?
Well, and I Googled it. It's like, what can you do? And it's like, there's really nothing you can do. Like, it's in there everywhere. So it's like sand in your Uggs. It's never coming out.
I can't tell you how many litter boxes I've thrown away just because I don't want to clean them. I'm just like,
same.
It's just too far. I can't.
Same.
So,
I mean, if we're being real, yeah, I've definitely thrown away full ass.
Victor's come home. He's like, did we get a new litter box? I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
He's like, what happened to the old one? I'm like, I just didn't want to clean it.
I didn't want to do it.
Same thing with Tupperware. He's just like, what happened to all our Tupperware? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, you keep throwing them away, don't you? I'm like, I just don't want to open and see what's in there.
Just throw it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a discussion quickly on the Oscars. Mm-hmm. Now, Daryl and I decided to surprise his dad in Reno, so we drove up Sunday morning to give an impromptu visit. We hadn't seen him since before the holidays. It had been way too long, and so we said, let's just drive up and see what's the what. Okay, first of all, that day was the day that records were broken for wind gusts. We drove right through it. It was 209 miles an hour. You could see the wind. Snow was coming off of the caps so hard, it looked like there was a snowblower up there. It was insane, but we got through it. He was in his truck, which is like a ton. It weighs like a ton.
Yeah.
So he was still holding on for dear life. It was pushing us all over the place. It was really scary. But we got through it, get to Reno. And of course, whenever we visit his dad, it never is what we expect. We always think, oh, we'll just be here for a few hours and then we'll go home and that'll be the end of it. Oh, no. When we come up, they're just like, it is party time.
Oh, God.
And so 2 bottles of champagne later, we are invited to their friend's house for dinner. And then we're wine tasting and it's a whole thing. And so we sobered up and then left at like 12:30.
Wow.
We got home around 12:30, 1 o'clock. So it was a long night, but it was well worth it. But in that process, I missed the Oscars.
Oh, no.
Now, I sat through and I looked at every red carpet photo. I have seen the obscure speeches. I know who won, but I did not watch anything past Brad Pitt winning, because once Brad Pitt won and he made a comment about the impeachment trial, they all turned off the television.
Yeah.
So I did not get to watch the rest of it because they're conservative. And so I didn't get to watch the show. And Daryl felt really bad. And I'm like, it's fine. I mean, it's just a freaking award show. But I love it because it's the freak show. You know, I love seeing all the crazy people. So really quick, let's talk about the red carpet. Idina Menzel wore that goddamn prom dress, big bow shit. And I said, J-Lo, what have you done? You wore a bow to the Grammys or the Emmys or the Golden Globes, and now everyone's copying you. And I'm not here for the bows, people. It's not 1980. Stop with the bow.
It seems to be like the season of wedding dresses or something like that.
Yes.
Like, I don't get it, but, you know, whatever.
Did you like anybody on the red carpet?
I actually didn't get to see the red carpet. I missed it.
Oh, I will say this: J-Lo did not attend. She went to the Vanity Fair party, but she did not go to the actual Oscars. And I don't know if she wasn't invited or what, but she wasn't there. Laura Dern, I did not like her dress. I thought Scarlett Johansson looked amazing. There was a lot of tendril-like draping on the arms, and I just thought it was really beautiful. Natalie Portman wore a cape with her Dior, with all of the names of female directors that were not nominated this year on the collar and down the seam of the front. Interestingly, she has a production company, just like Reese Witherspoon does. Now Reese Witherspoon exclusively hires females for all of her projects, which I think is really great.
Yeah.
It's not exclusionary. She has male counterparts, but overall she considers projects that are being headed up by women in Hollywood, and that's what her whole production company is about, and I really love that, actually. Natalie Portman has one too, and as much as she talks about how there's no females, she's only hired one female in her production company.
Okay.
And it's Natalie Portman. And she's the only female in her production company. So It's a little hypocritical of her to do that. She's not really necessarily embracing what she's, wearing, I guess.
What she's preaching or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe it's new and maybe she hasn't really gotten into it yet. I mean, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, but it was brought to everyone's attention that Natalie Portman's the only female in her production company. So there you go. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there was any other. Charlize Theron looked like a goddess, of course.
I know all those women that were in that. I'm actually surprised that movie didn't do better because I thought that they actually all looked really great.
Bombshell? Yeah, I'm dying to see it.
I am too, but I mean, they all looked like Charlize Theron. Was it that's who it was? She looked exactly like Megyn Kelly.
She did
exactly.
Yes.
But
I had heard I'd listened to some of her interviews about changing into that, and it took a lot of prosthetics and a lot of training to change her voice. It was a really interesting thing. I was not surprised. Well, they won for makeup. It did win an Oscar for makeup. I have not seen Renee Zellweger in Judy. I know I will see it eventually, but I'm not going to run out to see it.
I saw they showed the clip. She won.
Yes, she did. Yes.
By the way, I don't know what the hell Kristen Wiig was wearing. Did you see that?
Lasagna noodles that had been rubbed in menstrual blood. Yeah, I saw it.
What is that?
It was not good. It was not good. I appreciate risk, though. I appreciate the fashion risk. Now, you know how much I love Billy Porter. total fail. Hated what he wore. It was awful.
He's starting to get really out there.
I mean, I'm all about glam and over the top, but it just didn't work for me. I've seen him in other things that were fabulous, and this was like, eh.
I really liked, because before he was doing the whole masculine feminine thing, and that's what I really liked about him, because,
I love it.
you know, I thought that was kind of his thing is you know, he appreciates that he's a man, but he also appreciates the feminine side. But now he's just kind of starting to like enter like drag queen territory. And because I mean, if you saw him at the Grammys, he had like, you know, bright blue eyeshadow and you know, like this aqua dress and everything like that. And I'm just like, you know, if you're gonna go that route and like, you know, be tasteful, like don't look cheap, you know what I mean?
I would love is reinvent it into something amazingly new and fresh, and you know, everybody going, wow, I never thought of fashion like that, this androgyny, but it's next level. That's what I love him for. It's why I like Jeffree Star too, actually. But it's a really cool take if you keep it, like you said, it's hard to even believe that you have to say keep it tasteful. But obviously there is a limit, right?
Well, he's not a cheap looking person. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
But whatever he's doing makes him look cheap. Okay, Spike Lee, he looked like a train conductor.
Oh, I thought he looked like Willy Wonka. Come with me.
I don't know what he was, but I saw him when he came, you know, and his tiny little self came out to award Best Director. And I was just like, oh, Spike Lee, he looks like a train conductor.
I know. Okay, so as far as the crazy speeches go, I had to stop listening to Joaquin Phoenix's speech. Why is he pontificating for so long, and why are they allowing it?
Well, so here's the thing is, it's like, I feel like he obviously
has something to say, goddammit, and it is his time, and he is going to say it.
Well, that's the thing, though, is like, I think he did, but then he got off on the wrong track because, you know, I was listening and I was trying to be into it, but then he started talking about, like, you know, we impregnate, you know, cows and we take their babies, you know, and they're screaming for their mothers, and
like,
then we take the mother's milk and we put it in our coffee or our cereals, and I'm just like, what?
What happened?
And I'm just like, what is this? What does this have to do with being the Joker? You know? And I was just
nothing.
like, and so I, you know, but that's just the thing. Everyone has a thing, you know, like but again, I didn't understand what his was. You know,
what he reminded me of was, first of all, I think he's someone that just feels a lot of things. I think he's feeling all the pain and the chaos of his world. And I don't know if it's because he's allowed himself to be flooded with, you know, too much social media or too many websites of news, or, you know, the harrowing lives that happens. And you can really overwhelm yourself with the bad news. Now, the final thing about the Oscars that I want to talk about is this. I did not, like I said, I didn't watch the entire program, but there was a little bit of an after discussion about an ad that was submitted. They wanted to buy time during the Oscars, and the Oscars rejected the ad. Now, I am somewhat familiar with this. There are some things that television really will not allow to air, and it's all female based for the most part. You can't use red on commercials when it comes to pads or tampons. It has to be blue or clear, you know, because it's offensive. You can't talk. Now, this ad was about postpartum. It's called Frida Mom. F as in Frank, R-I-D as in dog, A, Frida Mom. It's not a new company. It is a company that has upped the ante on the products that they give you at the hospital. You know, they give you the squirt bottle, they give you the panties, they give you those big fat pads, they give you ice for your crotchal area when you're healing, things like that. But this company has improved those free products that you can buy for your postpartum care. So the commercial shows a woman, it's dark, a little newborn baby starts to cry, mama turns on the light, this baby is a day old. She gets out of bed. She's wearing the hospital underwear, and she's slowly walking her way to the toilet. She pulls down her diaper, and she grabs the squirty bottle, and she's grimacing. The baby's still crying. She's trying to clean herself up. She refills the squirty bottle, all of it. There's no blood or gore. It's just her going through the process of what you need to do after you have a baby. And it's very painful. And what's worse, if your baby's crying, you're probably milk is leaking. Your uterus is probably contracting on top of it. So it's a very painful, and any woman who's had a baby vaginally knows exactly what that's like. It's horrible. It's really hard. So then it segues to the products, Freedom Mom, making postpartum care easier because it's so hard. For example, they sell a squirty bottle that has an angled arm so you don't have to shove your whole hand in the toilet to clean your perineum. And it is brilliant. It's a brilliant idea. If you liked the products that you get at the hospital, which most of us do, we try to take home as many of those pads and underwears as we can. They have upped it. So they have a perineal pillow. They have this really cool angled squirt bottle. They have the hospital panties, but better. They even have the pads that you can put in the freezer to cool them so that you can wear them when you're healing, because you know how hot it gets down there when the stitches are healing. They have all of it for you.
Right.
Now they're basically sold out. You can go to Freedom Mom and you can see yourself, but most of the products are sold out because it's such a brilliant thing. ABC rejected the ad. They said it was too graphic. And I think it's bullshit. It was really, really different and unique and creative. And, honestly, I think they should have aired it. I think they would have had more buzz than had they not.
I think this company probably created this commercial knowing it wasn't going to air, and they're probably getting much more attention now than they probably would have had it aired.
Totally agree.
Because, how often do companies do things without knowing that, they have to make sure that it's going to pass, everyone's guidelines. Otherwise, it would be a wasted effort
of money. And the other thing, and trust me, that did completely cross my mind, that they knew this was going to not go, and therefore they could use that as their badge and get. First of all, the commercial's probably been played and seen far more than it ever would have had it aired during the Oscars.
Well, and I would say, and why pick the Oscars? I mean, that's primo time slot, and plus it's going to get the most attention.
I will say this, apparently what's one of the lowest viewed Oscars ever. So I think not having a host is really affecting it, to be honest with you.
I don't think the movies were really that great this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. I don't look forward to the speeches anymore. I just wish people could just go up and say, thank you, this has been so great. Thanks, my agent. Thank you for the people. And, and thank you and good night. I don't know why. I understand why they have the soapbox, but with social media, you don't need the stage anymore. Like, you can do that on your social media platforms. You can pontificate all day long about how we abuse cows, but just take the award. I mean, back in the day, no, there was no option. You got the stage, you said your platform, and you walked off. Totally get it.
Yeah.
Whether I agree with you or not, it's fine. But now, because everybody has a Twitter, an Instagram, a Facebook, YouTube, all of these, Snapchat, they could have those speech. They could be like, okay, this is the speech that I really wanted to give, and give it.
But that's just the thing, is they're not going to do that. I mean, I think they said Joaquin Phoenix was up there close to 3 minutes.
No, that's forever.
I'm just like, what happened to 1 minute then the music, It
was 45 seconds. It was supposed to be 45 seconds.
Thank your agent, start the music, and then get the little, model women in their evening gowns to start, grabbing you by the arm and take you off stage.
Because everyone forgets which way to go.
They always do.
What? Oh, okay. And then they walk off. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the Oscars. Although I didn't see it, I think I saw it. It feels like
even if you didn't, you really didn't miss anything.
I know. Anyway, all right. So really briefly, then we're going to our H-Ugly and Awkward Moments of the week. You and I watched the UFC separately last week because your daughter was ill, so you couldn't come over.
Right.
I realized that the judging was bullshit.
Horrific.
And they were blaming one very specific judge. Mm-hmm. After the card was completely over, after the main card had ended and they were doing the full recap, they all agreed that they think there should be some kind of group who should create a score sheet, and that should be the standard no matter where they go, because it's clear, and you and I know this, if they're in Nevada, it's one score way. If it's in New York, it's another way. Like, it's all arbitrary. Mm-hmm. And so there's no uniformed score sheet.
And this was my issue is it's and it's not even just the judges, but even doctors or refs are different depending on where you are. Like, exactly. Like the BMF fight, that fight should have never been stopped. The one in New York.
Agreed.
But that doctor stopped that fight, and he basically
because of New York.
He ruined the entire fight. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't know who would have won that fight. Everyone's like, yeah, but he was getting his ass kicked. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? It takes next to nothing to, to get one kick to the temple and then you're out. So it doesn't matter who's getting their ass kicked. That really pissed me off. So with this fight was in Texas. There was
Houston.
2 obvious fights where the other person won, but they gave it to the people who lived in Texas. And then it came to the main fight with Jon Jones and Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes dominated, I want to say, at least the first 3 rounds. And then Jones had him the last 2.
Yes.
The scoring had it unanimous that Jones won the fight. And that's just impossible.
I agree that boy came out, Reyes, right?
Yeah.
He came out and did the flurries, which you and I are very familiar with. Mm-hmm. And it was impressive. What I loved is what we're not used to is Jon Jones being challenged, because everyone he's been up against gets gassed so fast that he wins everything by the 3rd round, because nobody other than Jon Jones knows what it's like to fight in a 5-round fight. He's only ever done 5-round fights. Mm-hmm. And that is a humongous advantage when you're battling your belt. So you and I talked. Now, by the 3rd round, he was getting tired, and Jon Jones was calculating, and I could see it. Now, I don't know if Reyes won the 3rd round. I think it was really damn close, but he definitely won the first 2, no doubt. Mm-hmm. But what happened was, and it was interesting listening to the commentators say, okay, these are the championship rounds. This is where we get to see how good he really is. And I thought, you know what? If Reyes has the stamina and he can continue, he's going to get this belt, because he's coming for it, which is amazing to see, finally, to see a challenger coming for the belt. It's great. It was exciting to me. Mm-hmm. Based on the stats, Jon Jones caught up almost immediately with the strikes that guy hit in the first 3 rounds. Jones got in 1 round. Like, he was so catching up, and then he did the takedowns, and he admitted, he's like, if it wasn't for the takedowns, I was not winning. Like, he admitted it. Mm-hmm. So although I agree that the judging was a little skewed, I do firmly believe that Jon Jones deservedly won the fight, even though it felt uneven because Reyes had won probably 3 rounds. I don't know. I mean, I know we kind of disagree a little bit on that, but to take a belt from someone who's been holding it for as long as he has, you're going to have to really kick his ass. And I just don't think he did.
I guess I feel like if he did win 3 rounds, though, I mean, it shouldn't matter how long he's had the belt. It shouldn't matter that he's the champ. I mean, every fight should be judged the same.
Yeah, but it's not about just what rounds you win. It's cumulative.
Well, and if you go to the UFC website and you compare the strikes, I mean, they list who had what strikes, who had what kicks, who had,
Yes.
Reyes had more. The only thing he didn't have was the takedowns. And Jones had 2. But other than that, Reyes had more everything.
Jones also had control of the ring. Mostly.
There was times where he was running.
In the first 2, for sure he was.
I'm just saying there's no way it was unanimous. No way.
Oh, you don't think if it had been legitimately scored, it wouldn't have been unanimous?
Well, I mean, like how can you say legitimately scored? There were 3 judges. It should have been legitimately scored.
Well, you and I are agreeing that the scoring was skewed, is my point. But what I'm saying is Daryl and I both thought Jones would win, but we thought it would be a split decision. For sure.
And see, I keep coming back to this same thinking that I think the UFC has been doing this, and this is just my conspiracy theory thinking, is I think that they are setting fights to make sure certain outcomes happen. So I don't think it was a coincidence that fight occurred in Texas. Because if that fight had occurred in Vegas, I'm almost positive Dominic would have won that fight. And the Cerrone and McGregor fight, there was no doubt that McGregor was going to win that fight.
Yeah.
And so But so they're doing that to just kind of keep launching McGregor, back into the spotlight.
Totally fair. Okay. Let's do some Ugly and Awkward Moments of the week. In honor of ugly clothes, we're going to do the wardrobe malfunction edition. admit I get a lot of my stories from Reddit because that's where you're going to hear some really hilarious stories. So if you have any ugly and awkward moments, just a reminder, you can message us on any of our social media platforms, or you can go to uglytruth.com and send me your stories. We were getting a bunch and it kind of died down. So don't be shy. We're all awkward. Send me your story. And if I'm friends with you and you post something awkward, trust, I'm taking it and I'm reading about it. So be prepared if that happens, because it happens all the time. I just kind of don't do it. Okay, here's the first one. On a plane, I somehow got my skirt caught up in my underwear in the toilet and walked the entire length of the plane back to my seat, and the entire plane saw my ass. I didn't realize until I sat down, and the nice gentleman next to me told me.
You know what? I would have looked down the aisle and I would have backwards and I would have been like, thanks.
I would be like, thanks. Did you enjoy the show?
Thanks, everyone. Assholes.
You're all assholes. I'll see you in Burbank. Oh my God, that's so funny. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever, you know what? Yes, I have. I'm sure I have, but not
back in the day of nylons. I know it happened quite a bit, but
that's exactly it. God, I'm so glad nylons are over now. I'm so glad. Please don't bring those back, fashion industry.
No, I
don't want to do it.
Tights are okay, but nylons
tights are fine. But the sheer, taupe or off black nylon, I don't want to do it anymore. I know that there are places where, there are some very conservative law firms that require nylons from women and stuff like that, but I can't do it.
If I'm wearing nylons, it's probably because it's got like some garter belt attached with like red bows or something ridiculous. Yeah, and it's not because I'm wearing nylons. It's because it just it's completing some kind of underneath outfit.
If I'm wearing nylons, it's because I'm going to a funeral with our mother, and bare legs would be, inappropriate. And she would be like, why aren't you wearing coverings on your legs? I'm like, because it's summer and it's 98 degrees.
Look around at everybody else's legs. Jesus.
I have told this story many times. It's the last thing one of the last things I ever did, according to my mother's direction, was she forced me to wear nylons on my wedding day. And I hated her for it. And I don't even know why I did it. But she's like, Jamie, you can't. She's like, you cannot get married with bare legs. I'm like, why? What? I don't understand. What is the point?
Is there a scripture that says thou shalt not marry with bare legs?
I was wearing strappy sandals.
I know.
I was wearing strappy heels. They were super cute too. And
I would have taken the nylons, gone in the bathroom and be like, there. And then, taken them off as soon as I put my dress on.
I ultimately removed them, but I did get married in them, and I resented it because it was like 98 degrees at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon when we did it.
I don't know why.
So annoying.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know, Paula. Why do we do anything that we do? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, no more nylons on that. Okay, and the second one is this. This one made me laugh. This was obviously this was long ago, but it made me laugh. Work encouraged us to dress up for Halloween. No big deal for me. I was going to a party after work anyway, so I figured I'd save some time and wear my costume to work. My girlfriend dropped me off and would pick me up later. I get into the office and realize I'm the only one in a costume. So I spent the entire day dressed as a woman. I laughed so hard. I'm like, can you imagine?
Oh my gosh, he was
working at a bank or a customer service center, and you walk in and you're the only one dressed. That's my biggest fear is, you have that like, hey, we're going to dress up for Halloween tomorrow. Tomorrow is plaid shirt day. We're all going to dress like lumberjacks. And you show up and you're the only one fully lumberjacked out. Yeah. And everyone else is like, what are you doing there, Tim?
Kind of like
I thought we were dressing up.
Kindergarten when I took Olivia's to school on pajama day, but it wasn't pajama day.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. So just really quickly. The other day, Ryan reminded me, he's like, remember that time we were at Walmart and we were leaving and the Indian lady was looking at a receipt and Olivia looked at her and she's like, como te llamas?
Oh no.
And I just grabbed her and covered her mouth and I'm like, sorry.
That's really cute, actually.
I think she was like 4.
That's so cute. Her little face saying como te llamas.
Well, she just saw someone foreign and so she just assumed
she saw someone with dark skin and went, oh, she's Mexican.
She must be. I am not Mexican.
I'm not Mexican.
She's from El Salvador.
I love that movie.
I know.
I don't speak Mexican. I'm not Mexican. She's from El Salvador. Well, I don't know. That's a great movie, actually.
So that's
Clueless. All right. I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say.
That is all she wrote. So thanks everybody for listening. Please visit uglytruth.com. Click on the Amazon button. Do your shopping. Might be a little late for Valentine's Day. Maybe not.
If you're celebrating Valentine's Day and you're listening to this on the 12th, you ain't getting anything and you know it. So enjoy your evening alone.
Yeah, and if you're not getting anything, then you're not getting anything. So
that's right. Just go to cos-penis. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, really. Have fun on Reddit. Also visit lipandclip.com. They have some good skincare stuff. That's what I've been looking at. I need to get some anti-wrinkle things. My lips are getting crinkled. Starting to look like a little asshole mouth.
Little anus mouth.
God, I hate it. I look like I smoke 10 packs of cigarettes a day. Anyways, and then Olivia's still selling Girl Scout cookies, so visit Facebook, Ugly Truth, and you can click on her link and buy some Girl Scout cookies, not be pestered with the girls at the door. Plus, you can order online, ship directly to your house, and get the ones that you want. So you don't have to, get the last ones. Well, we have lemon squares and, I don't know, peanut butter cups or something like that. I always hate that because I'm just like, well, what do you guys have? And they always have like the gross ones. Well, not the gross ones, but not the ones that I want. So
on Sunday's show, I want to talk to you. I'm watching the Girl Scout Cookie Challenge on Food Network.
Well, then until Sunday, friends, have a good rest of your week. Happy Valentine's, happy Galentine's, happy birthday, Ugg, and we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.